Welcome to the Retirement Mentality channel. I've had a lot of people lately who watched my Puerto Rico video of my house that I finally finished in Puerto Rico. I've had a lot of people watch that video lately, and it's sort of, I got some people asking me the same question over and over. So a lot of people have watched that video and they say, hey Jeff, how do I start looking for properties in Puerto Rico? So today I want to just give you a quick introduction to sort of where you start the journey. If you're in the back of your mind, you're thinking, hey, I might want to move to Puerto Rico. I might want to buy an investment property in Puerto Rico, and you just don't know where to start. I'm going to do this video just as sort of an introduction as to how to start the search and what do you do to get started. So let's get into it right now.
Shut up and sit down.
Okay, so the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to just go online and just get a feel for what you get for the money. If you don't know much about Puerto Rico, maybe you've been to Puerto Rico, whether you know where you want your house to be or not, at this point, I don't think you should delve too far into it. Just if you're just getting started, going to Puerto Rico, there's two different websites that you can use. One is clasificadosonline.com. I'll put a link in the description down below. This is probably the best place to go. It's not the greatest website. It's sort of like the Craigslist version of a website for Puerto Rico, and they have houses for sale, for rent, on there, and you can go in there and you can look at properties in different barrios or different neighborhoods, and you can kind of look around and see what you get for the money. So maybe your budget's $100,000, maybe it's $500,000. You can go on there and you can put in search parameters and you can see what you actually get for the money. You can also go to point2homes.com as well. I'll put that down in the description also so you guys can go there and check that out. It's a little easier to navigate on that website, but they don't have as many houses on there. It's a little bit tricky finding properties because they don't have like an organized MLS like they do in the mainland US. So you got to do more legwork. But step one, I think, is just go onto these two websites and nose around and see what you get for the money. Okay, step two, if you're really serious about moving to Puerto Rico or buying property there, you got to go to Puerto Rico and you got to look around and you got to figure out where you want to be. In some ways it's a big island, and in some ways it's a small island. You can drive all the way around the island or you can go from end to end in a couple of hours. So you got to, do you want to be in San Juan? Do you want to be in a condo right on the beach in San Juan and be in the mix of it all? Do you want to be in the mountains, more in the middle? Do you want to be on a quieter beach on the west end of the island, in Rincon? So you got to go spend a little bit of time, boots on the ground, take a couple weeks maybe, and just hit different areas of the island and see what speaks to you. The place where we ended up buying our house was not on our radar at all. Nobody's ever heard of it. It's a little town kind of on the east end of the island, but we just fell in love with the area, and we did that because we went there and we found it actually being in Puerto Rico. Okay, now step three, if you've gone around and you've narrowed down where you want to be at, now like I said, there's no organized MLS. There is an MLS in Puerto Rico, but most of the agents don't use it. It just doesn't work the way it does in the mainland United States. A lot of the agents aren't actual realtors. They're not in the MLS. They don't put their properties in the MLS. They don't pay commission to buyer's agents. So you may have to pay a buyer's agent a commission if you want to work with the buyer's agent. I'm not going to get too far off into the weeds in this video about this, but just know that it's more difficult. It's hard to find data on comps. It's hard to find data on what's for sale, what's sold. So you've got to, now that you've been to Puerto Rico and you know where you want to buy at, you've got to become your own expert. You got to dig in, you got to get all the research you can, and you got to know every property online that you can find, and just you've got to figure out what properties are worth so that if you find the perfect one, you know how to make an offer on it, and you can kind of figure out what properties are worth in that specific area. Okay, now step four is I say you should probably go back to Puerto Rico, and a lot of the deals in Puerto Rico are found by knocking on doors, by knowing who's in the neighborhood. If there's an HOA, you talk to the president of the HOA. A lot of the properties don't make it onto the MLS or onto Clasificados. People in the neighborhood know that there's certain houses for sale. So try to go out there, try to meet the neighbors, go to the local watering hole, go spend some time in there, try to talk people up, ask them if they know anything for sale in the area. And, look for sale signs. A lot of people just put a for sale sign up in the window or in the yard. So we beat the streets and then between the online work that you've done and being in the neighborhood, hopefully you'll find the perfect property that you're looking for in Puerto Rico. This was just a quick and dirty, so that I had a lot of people asking me that didn't even know where to start. So this is just to kind of give people an idea of where to start. If you want to go to the next step and you want a more in-depth idea of what the buying process is like in Puerto Rico, go and watch this video over here, and I'll go way farther into detail over there. But for now, I hope this was helpful. If it was, give me a big thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video.